Ian Bremmer, Us versus Them, The Failure of Globalism. In Us versus Them, The Failure of Globalism, Ian Bremmer examines the negative consequences of globalism and its effects on society and politics worldwide. Focusing on economic and cultural impacts, Bremmer outlines how the disenchantment brought about by globalism has given rise to populism in multiple regions. The book investigates how populist politicians from both left and right are using us versus them narratives in response to globalization, driving changes and influencing cultural and national identity.
The rising populism of us versus them. In recent decades, globalism has been promoted by Western leaders, leading to economic efficiency by shifting production and operations where people and materials are cheaper. However, this has resulted in job loss, economic insecurity, and decline in the middle class. Dissatisfaction has fueled populist movements, with politicians tapping into a sense of frustration with an us versus them message. This message sets the working and middle classes against elites and immigrants. This sentiment can be seen in the campaigns of leftist politicians like Sanders and Tsipras and rightist ones like Trump and Le Pen. The us versus them paradigm is not merely about jobs, but about culture and nationality as well. Immigration and populist politics. Immigration is a rising concern in developed nations, and it is driving political upheaval, particularly the rise of the populist right-wing parties. Marine Le Pen's rhetoric on immigration warned France of cultural dilution as a result of the influx of foreigners. This concern is widespread, as there has been a doubling of the UK residents born outside Britain due to the European Union system of free movement for people. Hostility toward immigration and foreigners has risen, and this trend is likely to continue. Combined with an economy and society that feels more fragile than ever, populism is on the rise in Europe, the United States, and other developed nations. Globalization fuels rising anger. Despite China's effective measures to suppress protests, official records show that protest numbers had risen from 8,700 in 1993 to over 127,000 in 2010, driven by economic, environmental, and political grievances. Globalization has resulted in industrialization with the accompanying negative consequences of environmental pollution, causing citizens worldwide to be increasingly disgruntled. Emerging nations have been unable to fulfill the expectations of their expanding middle class, leading to protests against inadequate public services. Citizens frustrated by inequality feel a profound sense of anger, which will be further explored in the next section. The consequences of economic inequality. Economic inequality is a global issue that is prevalent in various countries. Wealth distribution gaps between the rich and poor are wider in countries like Russia, where the wealthy elite has grown extraordinarily wealthy at the expense of the less privileged. This wide income gap triggers frustration and often motivates unrest. Economic inequality has also been linked to hate crimes, which have been found to be more prevalent in states with a higher level of disparity in wealth distribution. As the world becomes more globalized, the potential for further economic inequality increases, making it a global threat. The automation impact. The rise of automation and technological advancements are fast making many jobs obsolete. A study predicts that by 2035, almost every large American city will see half its current job opportunities replaced by automation. Although economic theory indicates that automation will create new jobs that pay higher wages, evidence shows that automation is indeed taking over jobs and not creating new opportunities fast enough. With the loss of jobs comes an urgent demand for higher levels of education, increasing tuition costs, and the possibility of a bleak future for those that cannot afford it. Automation and developing countries. A high percentage of jobs are at risk due to automation in emerging nations like Nigeria, India, and China. As a result, a vast number of people face the loss of their livelihoods. Young and sizable populations in developing countries that once offered an advantage by providing a cheap and growing labor force now pose a disadvantage, with fewer jobs available for the increasing number of young people. Automation presents a significant challenge, as many developed countries lack the education and infrastructure needed to cope with these changes. Without serious investment in education, research, and infrastructure, developing countries such as South Africa or Egypt, Indonesia, or Venezuela risk being left behind by richer countries. As a result, individuals within these countries face unemployment, inequality, and heightened frustration. The rise of barriers in a globalized world. Governments worldwide are responding to the challenges of globalism by erecting walls to manage the flow of goods, information, and people. These barriers range from economic protectionism to the increasing restrictions on immigration. Developing countries are finding ways to protect their interests like the US. Even the flow of information faces hurdles, with many governments using the internet as a tool to control it. Immigration focus is shifting away from lower-skilled workers, and entry rights may be up for sale to wealthy foreigners. Instead of building walls, it's time for governments to rethink citizens' expectations and formulate better approaches. Reinventing the social contract. The expectations people have of their government have evolved beyond law and order and job opportunities. They now expect access to education, transport, safe drinking water, medical care, and the internet. Governments need to reimagine the social contract to remain relevant in a globalized world. This includes providing lifelong education and rethinking tax policies. Singapore's approach to workforce education can be emulated, while Bill Gates suggests taxing robots to fund worker retraining. The idea of a universal basic income is also gaining traction. The process of reinventing the social contract may not be easy, but it offers a better solution than building walls to deal with the forces of globalism.
The main takeaways from Us versus Them highlight the growing impact of automation and inequality on economies and societies, as well as the rise in anti-immigration sentiment in the face of changing demographics. Such trends are fueling the spread of populism across the world, threatening the stability of economies and societies. Bremmer emphasizes that governments must adapt by revisiting social contracts that establish what citizens can reasonably expect, focusing on aspects like education and taxation in a globalized world. Reflecting on the implications of rising inequality and the search for new solutions, the book underscores the importance of exploring alternatives to building walls in response to the challenges posed by globalism.